Hey, today I'm talking about 3 films featuring Emily Bader. And the names of those 3 movies are Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin, Fresh Kills, and Anonymous Killers. First up is Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. This is the 7th film in the Paranormal Activity franchise, and the basic premise is Emily was abandoned as a baby, but recently one of her relatives found her. Turns out they're Amish, and she's gonna film a little documentary about reconnecting with her roots. And it's just okay. A lot of this movie doesn't work within like the constraints of the Paranormal Activity universe, where it's all just like security cameras. I mean, they're trying to make a documentary with just one camera that is 8K resolution, so like the whole thing just looks way too pretty. And then there's a lot of just like camera movements that don't feel very documentary, or like there's so many shots that are just not from a documentary camera, which is so frustrating because it's so much more interesting to work within the confines of this device than it is to just film a regular movie. Either just film a movie regular style or film it in this found footage style. Don't do a mix and match of both because it's very distracting. And then on top of that, this whole thing is built on them filming a documentary with Amish people. You can't film Amish people. That is very hardcore against their core beliefs. They do make mention of it once, but it would take a dump truck full of convincing to get them to maybe do this. That said, slight spoiler to the movie, though it doesn't really super matter, is that they're not actually Amish. I could conceive that them allowing to be recorded is a hint that they're not actually Amish, but it doesn't super feel like that to me. It kind of just feels more like poor writing. I did like the little tidbit where they referenced how people within the Amish community call people who aren't in the Amish community English. That is a true thing that they say. The whole conceit of this is that she's supposed to be looking into her roots, but she almost never asks questions about her family, about the history of her family, or even just questions about her mom in general. Like, she does the tiniest little bit, but this whole thing is supposed to be about that, so there should be way more questions about that. I will say though, it does have the right vibe. It does feel we're in the right universe. Emily is definitely super adorable. She definitely is a good lead here, and a cutie patootie. And then I will say the very end horror action set piece thing worked. I was genuinely freaked out. That whole sequence was creepy and got under my skin, and just really top to bottom, they nailed it. It did definitely pull me back around in the end. So I would say overall, I liked it. I thought it was fine. I would say if you're curious about it, like if you like just kind of simple, sort of turn your brain off horror thriller films, yeah, no, you can definitely do worse than this. I doubt this is gonna become your favorite, but if you wanna check it out at least once, there's no harm. It does deliver eventually, so yeah, no, it's not a bad one. The next step is Fresh Kills. This is a 2023 film that got a surprisingly high score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't really understand it. The basic premise is it follows these 2 sisters through about a decade of their life as they deal with the consequences of their father being a mobster. One of them, played by Odessa Azion, is a daddy's girl who's just always mean and willing to throw punches. And then you got Emily Bader, who is a mama's girl who wants nothing to do with his family and doesn't talk a whole lot. It starts off very weak. A recurring issue within this film is definitely the Foley effects. They are not good, and really just the sound design in general is not great. They just sound very pulled this default audio file, didn't really manipulate it. You've heard this same sound a million other times type of thing. And really the filmmaking in general was not solid. I do think the base story story is interesting and this perspective is interesting, trying to grapple with what your family is, where you are in the world, how to break out away from your family, well, not like abandoning them because you still love them, recognizing the flaws in your parents type of thing. But just like the film itself has so many flaws, it's kind of hard to point out all of them. Like, it's crazy obvious that their dad is a mobster, so them being in denial is just strange, especially too because like everyone in the community points out that their dad is a mobster, so it just doesn't work. Plus, like, once they do fully realize that he's a mobster and it's like this big emotional release, it does nothing for me because it's painfully obvious from the onset that he's a mobster, and she more or less knows that he's a mobster, so like getting this outside confirmation shouldn't necessarily really lead to a big emotional breakdown. It should just be more confirmation of like, okay, this is sad, but not like I'm gonna go run away and throw up sad. That's just over the top. And then like the moments of her trying to escape from the family should have felt more of a relief rather than just like, okay, well, I guess she's doing this now. And just like a lot of the emotions at the end just do not work. Like, a character dies and I felt basically nothing for them, even though like it's an actor that I like, so like I should have had some sort of reaction, but it's just kind of like, no, I guess that happened. So yeah, no, I didn't really care for this movie and I don't recommend it. It's got good ideas and alright performances, with also some other just atrocious performances, but just it's a mess of a film that really doesn't work. So yeah, no, I didn't super care for it and I don't recommend it. And lastly is Anonymous Killers. This is a 2020 film that I went into with such low expectations. And it's interesting in that there's a lot of stuff wrong with it, but I didn't hate it. So the basic premise is this strange man kidnaps 5 people who have committed murders, and he has them in like a Saw torture porn kind of setup, and they're supposed to vote amongst themselves who deserves to live, who deserves to die, are their murders justifiable, basically. And the acting is so bad, so bad. I've definitely seen worse, but like, oh my god, just some abysmal stuff. And it's trying so damn hard to be cool, but it does not work. And then like the movie can't decide which genre it wants to be, so each of the different killers, their backstory is a wildly different story, some of which are insanely offensive. Like, there's a sexual assault one. When that one happened, I was so close to turning the movie off because it's just, oh my god, you did not handle that well. And then like it's trying to be all philosophical and have like these big moral debates about murder and like class warfare stuff. I was trying really hard to follow along with what they're trying to say, but it just didn't really work. It definitely fell apart in a way that I don't think they were trying for. Now, that all being said, like, this movie's definitely bad. This movie is without a doubt bad. It was strangely still entertaining. Like, I thought about shutting it off almost immediately, but I was like, no. I really want to see Emily in this. She's got a very, very small part, just one scene, one of the flashbacks late in the film. So I was like, no, I'm going to try to wait it out till I get to her. I will admit, I was not giving this film my full attention, but I think that helped the film, that it kept it entertaining because it kept jumping around so much. It made it interesting. It made it feel fresh. Even though all of the things that it was doing were bad and laughable performances, it still, as background noise, kept me engaged, kept me thinking. So I kind of went into this thinking this was going to be easy, I wasn't going to care for this movie. I might even just shut it off. But it wasn't. It was a minute. It was like a 2 out of 5 for me. It somehow held its own. So I think with a better script, this director may have actually been able to make something more passable, something more doable. I think he's not without skill. It's just very rough and unrefined. He would probably be more suited for doing TV shows rather than trying to make feature films. And honestly, if you want a movie that is just laughably bad, like something to be drinking or smoking with friends and just kind of make fun of it as it's going along, yeah, no, this would definitely work. Again, there's without a doubt offensive stuff in here that will poke at you, but on the whole, it's not an awful experience. So yeah, I would very cautiously, you gotta go into it with the right sort of mindset and non-sober intentions, and you can have a good time with this film. So yeah, no, it's a bad film that I would cautiously recommend. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin, sitting at number 14 in the like section. And then after that is Fresh Kills, sitting at number 19 in the meh section. And then bringing up the rear is Anonymous Killer, sitting at number 24, again in the meh section. And this is out of a total of 24 old movies so far this year.